Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of Odyssey Book 2, and we've just had a very unpleasant speech by Eurymachus towards Telemachos, and now Telemachos responds. Ton dao Telemachos pepnumenos antion euda. Eurymac edi kai aloi hosoi menesteres agavoi. Tautamen uk humias et illissamai ud agoruo. E de ga ta isas dioi capantes akaioi. Al agemoi doti nea doen kai ikos hetairus. Hoi con entha kai entha dia presosi keleuthon. And I'll just pause there. So we've had this before, this thoughtful connected with peneo, idea of breathing in some sense. So thoughtful Telemachus, moreover, replied, well, back to him. So thoughtful Telemachus then replied to him, O Eurymachus, adi kai aloi. Now the adi is something like and, so it's probably and also the others, as many as are. Agawoi here is something like illustrious suitors. So he's being polite here. So as many as are illustrious suitors. He's been accused of speaking too much, so he says the uk goes with the eti. No longer lissamai am I beseeching you in respect of these things, nor will I speak on the matter, nor will I address them. So I will no longer beg you nor speak on these matters, for now, or perhaps already, the theoi, the gods, and all the Achaeans, isasi. This is from Oida. This is just the third person from Oida. They know these things. So for already the gods and all the Achaeans know these things. Now it comes now to a very interesting change of subject here, change of idea, which leads on, of course, to the rest of this book and the next few. Al agemoi doti, but come. That's that use of age, which continues on into later Greek, but come, give, doti, aorist imperative from Didomi, give to me a swift ship and 20 comrades. So it's 20 helpers really, but comrades is probably good here. 20 comrades. Hoi, who, now the verb here is from diapraso, here Ionic form diapraso, this is subjunctive. Who, it's subjunctive with ke, who might accomplish a keleuthon, a voyage or a trip, there and there. In other words, there and back, we'd say in English. So come, give to me a swift ship and 20 comrades who might accomplish a journey there and back. Amy, this is the other future of Urkamai, for I will go as Spartan to Sparta and into, I don't think I didn't read this bit, so Amy ga es Spartan tekai es pulon hemathoenta noston pusomenos patros dein oikomenoia eintismoi pesi proton osana kuso ek dios he temalis tefere kleos anthropoisin ken men patros bioton kai noston akuso tan trukomenos per eti tlaien eniauton. Just pause it there. So he's asked for a swift ship that will get him back there and back, for I will go into Sparta and into sandy Pylos. Now, Pylos, of course, is on the west coast of the Peloponnesus. And it is quite sandy. It's got lots of beaches and things nearby there. Pusomenos, this is a future participle from pun thanomai, it's irregular. So future participle from pun thanomai, to inquire. So with the intention of, future participle, with the intention of inquiring about the noston. Well, here is definitely return journey, so the coming home. Nostos can just have the sense of a journey, not necessarily homeward, but here it certainly is. So being about to inquire of the journey home, patros, of my father, and we get a genitive participle here from oikomai, another verb of going. So has been gone, dain, for a long time. Atis moi epesi, and if someone of mortals, someone among men, might speak, in other words, might tell me something. Now, ain for e'an, with subjunctive here. So if someone, sort of almost like in the case that some mortal might tell me something, or akuse, this will be a subjunctive here, probably rather than a future. If I might, after the e'an, if I might hear an osan. Now, an osa is a report, but generally a divine one. It's generally some message from the gods, some report that's come from the gods. So I might hear some divine message, ek dios, from Zeus. That's the genitive, of course, from Zeus. And then hey is agreeing back with hosan, which especially Pharaoh brings. Well, here it's got the sense of news or report. In later Greek it comes to mean glory, so a report about someone is because of their valiant deeds, and it comes to mean glory and so on, but here it's just news. So which especially brings news anthropois into mankind, to mortals. Now we get a men, and we're going to get a de here, so it's a men and a de. So if, on the one hand, I might hear, subjunctive again, of the bioton. Biotos simply means life here. So it's the life of my father. So in other words, we paraphrase that a little bit. If I might hear that my father is alive, but it's literally the life of my father. Kai noston, and about his return journey home. Et an trukomenos pair. Now, we get pair used with a participle in this way very commonly in Homer. It becomes kai pair in better Attic Greek later on. So it means although. Trukomenos, well, worn down. So although worn down, now the a, surely, and the an is with the optative here. So surely, although worn down, I would endure still for a year. So surely I would hold out for a year, although I am worn down. So it's optative from telao, to endure something. And then we get the ade te, tethenotos akuso, made etiontos, nostesas de epe to philein es patrida gaian, and then it goes to a new page. But if akuso, again subjunctive, I might hear, and it's taking a genitive here. Interestingly, above here it took accusatives. Here it's generally it takes a genitive of person, so it's I might hear of him having died, nor still being. So again, another genitive participle after a kuo. This is participle from Amy, of course. So no longer alive. Greek will use the verb to be, esti, to mean to exist, to be alive. So, but if I hear of that he is dead and no longer alive. Nostesas, from nostio, I will return. So indeed, having returned home afterwards, then having returned home to my dear fatherland, or to my dear paternal land, we continuing on, it says sema te hoi huo kai epicteria te reixo apolomala hosa e oike kai anari meteridoso. So we get a tet and kai here. So I will both, huo is to, from keo, it's just a lengthened form of keo, to pour. Now to pour a sema simply means to, it's to make a mound, so to make a grave site really. So I will pour up a mound hoi for him, so I will make a grave for him, we would say. And then the epi is a preverb with this verb here, and the verb teraizdo, this is a future here. The QO here also is a future without sigma. So it's from heo, and it's a future, but the sigma's dropped out. So I will prepare a mound or a tomb for him, and the epi goes with the kterizd rixo, which is a future from ktereizdo, and that verb is formed from this noun kteria. This is new to plural here. It means funeral gifts, and the verb means to give funeral gifts, so to honour with funeral gifts. So the whole thing is to pay funeral honours here. So it's literally to bury with due honour in respect of funeral gifts. So I'll just translate it as I will pour a mound for him, so I will set up a grave for him, and I will pay funeral honours, polamala, very many, hossa, with a double sigma for the sake of meter, as many as eoike is fitting, is appropriate. Kai, so and, doso, future from didomi, I will give my mother, aneri, this is for andri, it's an alternate dative here because he needs an extra syllable, some aner, so I will give my mother to a man. So that's the end of his speech. A toi hot gos, a pern cat ar hesdeto, toi sidaneste mentor, hos rodiseos amumenos aen hetairos, kai hoi ion en neusin ep etrepen oikon hapanta, pedestai te geronti kai empedapanti fulasen. Hotsvin eufronion agoresato kai met epete. Now the atoi, well, it's a little bit, wasn't quite sure on this, whether it was thus, sometimes the a at the beginning is from Amy, a verb meaning only occurs in this form here, he said, but then we've got hos epon, thus speaking. A by itself can mean in fact, or just be very emphatic, especially with the toy. The hot is just he, and we get another emphatic get. So it could mean something like he said this, and thus speaking he sat down, or it could just mean yea verily speaking thus he sat down, and the ara here is the cat goes with the hes de top preverb, and the ara is just accordingly. I'll leave it to you to work out which one it is here. So I'm not quite sure whether this is A from Amy or whether it's just this verily, in truth. And mentor Aneste stood up before them. Mentor Hos, who was the comrade, the friend, heteros, of blameless Odyssey. Well, this is a funny word, and I think I'm getting to the point I don't want to translate this as blameless anymore. I think I want to translate it as, high up. Noble, perhaps, might be better. Noble Odysseus. It does mean without, it can mean without blame. The etymology is a little bit funny, and certain people are described in Homer as being blameless when they're clearly not. So it may mean of high stature in their society. Much is written on this word. So he was a comrade of noble Odysseus, and now Odysseus is now the subject. Eon, participle from Amy Ibo. So going in the ships, Epetrepen, he, that is Odysseus, handed over, or perhaps entrusted, oikon hapanta, the whole house, hoi, to him, that is to Mentor. Now, Pathes de Geronti. Now, this is a fairly obscure line, this little bit here. It's either, we have to supply hosti oikon, so as the house, so he did all this so that the house would obey Geronti, the old man. Now, commentators are divided here on whether this refers to Mentor, who's the last person mentioned, or whether it refers to Laertes. Mentor would presumably not be an old man because he's a comrade, a contemporary of Odysseus, so this may in fact refer to Laertes, Odysseus' father. In any case, it's slightly obscure, so that the house would obey the old man, probably Laertes, and that he would guard panta everything. Empeda is adverbial from empedos, something like securely, so he might securely guard all things. So it's slightly obscure, this little verse here, so that he, Odysseus, having gone in the ships, he entrusted the whole house to him, and he gave orders for the house to obey the old man, and for him to guard all things securely. And he, this is still Mentor here, he, Euphronion, thinking well, so being well disposed, spin perspici, to them, he addressed them and said. And here is the speech, and I'll save the speech of his to the next recording.